Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Mayday Mayhem podcast. I am your host, Mayday Mayhem. Now, today will not be a very jubilous podcast as I usually do. I know during this podcast, I may have some people that agree with me and some people that disagree with me. But I promise you that I will come to you with topics that are taboo or not, and this may be one of those topics. So, everyone, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And welcome to the Mayday Mayhem podcast.
You can call her Mayhem or Mayday. Talk shit, she at your head. I ain't talking bald face. She don't fuck with baby daddies, fucking up the feng shui. Taking care of 4 kids, Sunday to Sunday. Fly
Now,
here and around.
we've seen some tragedies over the past couple of weeks. We're going to start with the very most recent one, and that's in all of news today, is the unaliving, what I call a public execution of Charlie Kirk. Now, some people I have seen on the media have said quite a few things that I do not agree with, and some things that I do agree with. First of all, let's go along with who Charlie Kirk was. Excuse me, but this one is just getting to me a little bit. But Charlie Kirk was a media influencer, a very far right wing with the Republican Party. He preached a lot about immorals of abortion and LGBT and putting more of church in the family and more of God in people's lives. Those are some of the things that I picked up on with researching him, because prior to his unaliving, I had no idea who he was until I realized, wait, that's the man that's on Jubilee that's always debating, 20 democracy, where he doing 20 on 1. I vividly remember one where he was like 20 on 1 conservatives versus whatever the parties is. I'm not too much into these parties. However, and he was, holding his stance on abortion, and that's mainly the things that I saw: abortion and when life starts, and gun violence and gun crime, and your amendment to have a gun and to defend yourself. Those are the main things I saw him. With a deep dive, I did see he did have some very derogatory things to say about black people, which myself, being a black woman. And he had some very derogatory things to say about the LGBT community, which I respect utmost. But he also had a lot of core family values that he represented. Now, that's just the outlook on who he was and some of the things that he preached. Let's talk about the actual unaliving. I'm upset that we as a nation, we as a society, saw a human being publicly annihilated, and there are people happy and cheering. Let's set aside his views for a second. Let's just say he was a random guy. I understand some of you are saying, but I hear you guys. Trust me, I hear you. He had no sympathy. He didn't believe in sympathy. So why should we give sympathy for him? You're not giving sympathy for him. You're giving sympathy for what actually just happened. This individual's life was taken in front of his wife and children. Whether you like his wife or not, whether you his children or not like his children, but they are children. They are actually have nothing to do with this. These are children. And I understand we see this a lot in society, and it's something else I'm going to piggyback on after I finished talking about Charlie Kirk. But children are innocent. You know, is it okay that these two children are going to grow up knowing that their father was executed because he was speaking about gun violence? And even there's a interview with the actual young person that was speaking to Charlie Kirk, having that debate with him when he lost his life, and him himself agrees, even though I'm debating with you, that does not mean you have to lose your life. See, that's the issue I'm having. It's not really the point that, yes, a life was lost. Yes, it was graphic and very disheartening, but it was more so to see that America as a whole are celebrating the death of a human being on live television. And again, I only know so much about him because I watched Jubilee. I'm not flying out for y'all because y'all want me to pay to fly out. I'm in the Chicagoland area. You come out to Chicago, I'm gonna audition, and you know I get on there and do my speaking points. But other than that, you gonna have to fly this ass out. I'm just putting it out there, 100%, being 100% transparent. Yeah, but I saw him do a lot of debates on there about pro-life versus pro-choice, and my perspective is that's pro-you. You know, hey, I have nothing to do with what you do with your body. Your body, your choice. You can do it. Your world, squirrel. Everybody just trying to get a nut. Hey, do what you got to do. You like it, I love it. But what I don't love is the happiness. That's the only way I can put it. The happiness of someone losing their life. And we as a society, and I have to say we because I live here, I'm in this world, I'm in a society. We as a society are happy and jubilating that this man has lost his life and are saying, yeah, more need to lose their life too. Time out. When does that become a part of freedom of speech? Because as I remember, this is America where we do have the freedom of speech, which means I can say something and you may not like it, but that does not mean you have the right to take my life. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, he spewed hatred. He spewed this. Well, now, due to his passing, he's been martyrized. He's a martyr now because he died for what he fought for. Even in some of his words, he says, yes, some people have to die for guns and all of this rhetoric. He literally died for what he stood for, and now he's been modernized. So now, what we're unfortunately, which this is why it terrifies me, because now we're going to live in a society where you can't say what you want. As we see now, a lot of people have lost their jobs due to saying some very ignorant things about someone losing their life, whether you agree with them or not. You know what I'm saying? And should these people lose their jobs? Again, if this is American freedom of speech, you have the right to say what you want, then should those people lose their jobs? We have to take it both ways. You can't pick and choose. Freedom of speech means I, myself, Mayday Mayhem, can come on here and speak to you openly and freely. If you do not agree with me, it's okay. It's okay to not agree. It's okay to not agree. It's okay to agree to disagree. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to turn this off. I don't want to listen. That's okay. But in the end, you still have your life. I still have my life. And we both can go on our separate ways and still be alive. Now, with all the rhetoric that has caused from his passing, now you're going to have extremists that really believe a lot of the stuff that he was thinking. These are really extremists. And now it's going to be a back and forth. This whole thing, what I believe, and we all know I'm a conspiracy theorist, clock that. But I honestly believe that this was created to divide. How else can you conquer a civilization? Divide it. And you watch them fight against each other. And after they've dismantled and murdered everyone, now you're over what's left. Conquer and divide. We've heard that our whole lives. If you conquer something, you divide it and you win. If you divide something, you can conquer it and win because they're too busy fighting against each other to see the big picture. Do I believe this is some type of diversion? Yeah. But it's diversion through society because we have been so desensitized to the gore of the world, the gore of the internet, that now it's out of control. It's literally out of control. And that's what scares me. It's not the unaliving of him. It's not even the rhetoric that he preached because I didn't really listen to it. So I can't know about something that I don't listen to. I know to educate myself to not to fall into that lane, but what he said never bothered me because I didn't know nothing about him. So now you have a very small, let's say we have 10% of our population that actually knew about him. And of that 10%, only 3% actually listened to him. So we had 3% of our society who actually knew who he was. Now with his passing, we have 100% of our society that know exactly who he is. And you're going to have people that are far extremists that are going to agree with that. And you have people that are not going to agree with, that are, again, far extremists. There's extremes in everything, from religion, government. We have extremists everywhere. But the problem is we need to come together and stop being so separate. Because now we're in a situation where we are separated and divided. And when I say society, I say this very, very liberally. I'm talking about us as a society. Me too. I'm included because, again, I live here. I live in this society. I live in this world. I'm a part of this era. So, yeah, me too. We have been so desensitized from logic, humanity, and sympathy for another human being. Have you ever heard forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you? It takes that weight off of you because, look, whatever you're going through, I forgive you. You know, I forgive you. But I just need to part my ways. No one is hurt. That person is still doing what they're doing, and you're still doing what you're doing. You have your life, and you can do what you want to do. You still have your speech. See, this all comes down to a freedom of speech. Our freedom of speech is being demised right now. And we are the one demising it. Instead of saying, have y'all ever heard, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. I'm pretty sure a mass majority of us in America has heard, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Ain't you ever been to a party and you hear somebody kiki and, ooh, girl, yeah, and I was at the strip club and he had me upside down and he was doing the windmill. You the type of person that don't like strip clubs. But you're in this mass of people. What are you going to say? Are you going to tell them, oh, my God, I can't believe you was on a pole and you had it busting it wide open for everyone to see. You're disgusting, ma'am. You might get jumped about 15 of her friends. You say you might get jumped. But if you ain't got nothing nice to say, you still gonna have a good time at the party. All you gotta do is say, That's really nice. Bam, everybody still having a good time. She's still over there. Girl, I was sweating. I was throwing ass in a circle. You should do all that. And you over here in your mind. And you going to have a couple of friends over there which you would agree, oh, I would never throw that ass in a circle. Never. Triangle or square, I would never do that. That throwing ass is attached to you. How can you throw ass? Again, you're going to have those 3% of group of people that's going to be like, yes, of course. Like, that is so unladylike. Like, I wonder, does it stink? I ain't gonna lie, if y'all messing with them BBLs, I done heard some stories. I don't have one. Mine was all natural. I'm just saying, for the bachelors out there, the clock out here, his ass is real. But back to, unfortunately, I have to have a little comedy in the realness of this because you have to laugh to keep from crying. And that is literally one of my mottos. I laugh to keep from crying because it is sickening that we live in a society where mass murder is praised. It's praised. And it hurts that my fellow human people are doing this. Again, he could have passed away, whatever. And we would not know who he was if everyone wasn't up in bounds hollering, yay, he's gone, happy times. Are y'all for real? This man just was killed on live TV in front of his wife and children. Like, you don't have to have sympathy for him. You don't even have to have sympathy for his wife, but at least have sympathy for his children. These are 2 more kids that are growing up without their father. And this could have been totally avoided. We're looking at the actual alleged shooter seems to be 22 years old. 22. And you've given your life up for what? And even with the alleged shooter, his family and friends turned him in. His family and friends turned him in. So just because you spew that rhetoric, your family may not spew it. Your friends may not spew it. A lot of people, we don't know what some of our kids are saying or doing. And sometimes a lot of us stray away from our family who has beliefs that we don't believe in. We get away from them. But in this instance, us as a society are happy that this man is gone. It's a shame. It's a crying shame. But then you're upset because you lost your job. Because instead of you closing your mouth, not saying nothing, derogatory about someone's past, ain't you ever heard you ain't supposed to speak ill of the dead? Regardless of who it is, you ain't supposed to speak ill of them. Ain't you ever heard of that? I'm trying to give y'all some things for life lessons. Like, you need to know that if you ain't never taught, I'm trying to teach you. Certain things you just don't say and do. And it's not out of etiquette or it's being a human thing. Just like we have the young woman, the second part that I'm speaking about, the young woman that passed away. What was that, in North Carolina? Let me look it up for you guys. Hold on, I'm going to make sure because, I like to be a little bit accurate. She was on a bus. Charlotte, North Carolina. This was a young lady that was she had came from, Ukraine. And she was escaping the war in Ukraine. And she was stabbed on a bus by a black man. We have to say it since we want to put color on everything. She was stabbed by a black man. She was a white woman stabbed by a black man. But besides color, let's take that out now, since we know the demographics of what happened. She had just gotten on the bus. Looks like she had just gotten off from work, from a pizzeria or something. Like everyone on the bus that we could see individual in the picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other people. And I have something to say about that. 5 other people on the bus with her. She's just on her phone. What we all do when we get on our phone, when we get to a destination, or even if we sitting waiting for lunch, what's the first thing we do? Y'all know I got 2 phones, one for my mama and one for my hoes. Whole phone never rang, so I'm holding it up right now. It's the whole phone. It's the mama phone. I love you, mama. See you later when I get home. But first thing we do is, soon as we get to a destination, we're waiting on someone. You even stand in line for a cup of coffee. You've ordered your coffee. What's the first thing you do? Start scrolling. We become a society of scrollers. Like all us, when we get a 500 years old, this is not going to work no more. Because this is all we do is just scroll. Ain't none of us going to have no, what do you call this little thing right here? A risk. Yeah, ain't none of us going to have none of them. None. So they're scrolling. She gets on. She has a seat. And there's a man that, she's not paying attention to. She just sits down. She's on the way. And he's anxious on that bus. And now, next to him, there are 5 black people. She was the only white woman on the bus. I'm just taking what it is. He pulls out a knife and he stabs her in the neck. 3 times. And she dies there on that bus. No one to comfort her. See, what I'm hearing is, oh, what was they supposed to do? To stop him? Did you hear me one time say stop him? The act was so quick. This girl didn't even know she was stabbed. I saw the video. See, I don't have a problem with watching graphic videos because I can separate myself and disassociate my emotions, and then my emotions will clock in later. But my heart is broken for her. She was surrounded by people, but she died alone. How fucking heartbreaking can that be? I don't care what color, what nationality, man, woman, dog, cat, frog, hamster. You surrounded by people, but you die alone. Now, he quickly stabbed her and walked to the train exit, and you can see blood dripping off his hand from him stabbing her. He might have cut himself also from the action, and hopped off the train and walked on about his business as this young lady left her pass. But my heart was broken when I saw my people, black people. No one. It was a woman literally right across from her. After she was stabbed, the woman just looked at her, had her phone out, put her bag next to her. Again, I have a lot of empathy. Unfortunately, I have empathy for people that I should not have empathy for, okay? Like I was telling my producer, back about 10 years ago, I had 4 bricks in my car. Not bricks of that actual bricks. And I had hoes' names on them that I didn't like. And I would tell them, bitch, I got a brick in the car with your name on it. If I ever catch you, it's going right at you. Thank God I never saw none of them women. I never saw none of them. I never saw none of those people. And I thank God, because if I would have, I would have lost my whole life. Jail, my children, everything I hold near and dear to me would have been gone off of an act of feelings, emotions. So I had to check that. I had to check it. And after checking that, there are no more bricks in my cars, people. I have gotten rid of the bricks. Boo-hoo, I'm a good person now. Ugh. But I got rid of the bricks because, again, forgiveness is not for the person, it's for you. Yeah, I can forgive what you did to me. I will never forget, but I can forgive you. And with this situation, you had 5 people around this woman. After she was stabbed, you could see her like looking hurt. No one stood back. Are you okay, baby? Are you okay? Oh my God. Could have just applied pressure to the wound. And from what I'm hearing, there was other people from the other side of the bus that came to at least try to help her. But you were surrounded by people that was the first right there. And I know you're asking, well, what you would have did in that situation? I would have fucking helped her. I would have helped her. Like, oh my God, ma'am, I have did that before. Quick story. Me and my kids, we were driving down the street, and I saw a man fall off the bike, and I saw him hit his head. He didn't have a helmet on or anything. I didn't know this man from a can of paint. I pulled over as quick as I can. I let down the windows. Meaning, are you okay? Oh my God, are you okay? No bullshit. He looks at me and do this. I said, yeah, this motherfucker drunk. I said, okay. I said, you okay? He said, yeah, a curb just came out of nowhere. The curb came out of nowhere? Yeah, this curb she just came out of nowhere. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day. He said, thank you, ma'am. Have a great day. I understood all that. But see, the human element in me, oh my God, this man has fallen. Let me see, does he need help? Is he hurt? Anything wrong with him? He was just drunk, and he hopped on that bike and rode on down. And I said, Lord, I hope the curb don't jump up and get him again. But it was just a human element. Another time, I was coming from the doctor with my mom, and we saw a kid laying on the ground and another person helping them. The first thing I said, yo, is everything okay? And he was like, yeah, he just fell. And look, I'm the type of person, I'm scared of human trafficking. I asked the little boy, I looked him in his eyes, is you okay? No, I had that mama instinct in me, that maternal instinct. I can't help it. I'm a mama. I don't even think if I wasn't a mama, I'd still be maternal. I'm like, you all right? Blink twice if you cool, bro. I'm giving him like the SOS sign. Ding, 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 ding. I'm doing it through my eyes or something. I'm like, you all right, boy? And he like, yeah. And I can see he went to the same school, in high school as my other kids. So I'm like, okay, he goes to the same high school. I'm clocking T. So if I have to ask questions or I interview, look, he had this uniform on. He went to that school. I know the ID badge because my kid got one. I was ready. But he actually fell, and another good Samaritan saw him fall and pulled over to help him. And he was like, I'm okay. I fell, and he helping me. I'm like, okay. Make sure you don't have a good day. Be careful, baby. Just be careful. That's the human thing to do. You help someone when they're hurt, whether you know them or not. Because I was taught, I do for people what I want for them to do for me. If I see someone hurt or anything, I'm going to help because I would want someone, not that person or anyone, to help me if I was hurt or anything like that. True story. One of those hoes that I had a brick in my truck for, I did not like her, period. But I can tell you one thing. If I saw her child, or anything like that stranded somewhere, and I was the only one that could take them somewhere, I know most people would be like, them motherfuckers would freeze. No. I will put her in the car and take her where she got to go and safely take her because, for one, she has a child with her. Now, if she by herself, she might be sitting there a minute. But if she has her child with her, because I have sympathy for the baby. Now, would she do that for me? Probably fuck no. And I wouldn't care. Because it's not you that's going to fill my heart with sympathy. That's me that fills my heart with love. I don't need you to feel that. I do that on my own. So, yes, I would help. If I was in that situation, yes, I would help them get to a proper destination where they're safe. and then tell her, bitch, I owe you one. And I'm not talking about some money. I'm owe you this ass whooping. And keep on going because, again, she's trying to protect her child and trying to do anything to help her kid. So the child is innocent. We have to keep remember that kids are innocent. You know what I'm saying? This woman came from Ukraine, getting away from a war. And she came here, and I promise you, I say this because it hurts so bad. She died alone, surrounded by people. That is the most heartbreaking thing I could ever think of. You literally died alone, surrounded by people. So we have to do better. We have to do better as a society, as a race, the human race, not a race of black, race of white, race of anything, the human race. Because if you stripped us down, took the color, we all bleed red. You wouldn't know the difference. We're all humans. No matter how big, how small, how old, how young, we are humans. And until we grasp that concept of us being humans and having sympathy for a fellow human, whether that human has sympathy for you or not, whether that human has spewed hate and rhetoric or not, it's the human thing to have sympathy when you see something bad happen to another person, whether you feel they deserved it or not, over words, which is supposed to be our amendment right, freedom of speech. So now our freedom is jeopardized because if you say something someone doesn't like, now this giving you the okay go to take them out because you don't like what they say. When did that become America? When? You should be able to say what you want, as long as you're not harming no one, putting your hands on nobody, or inciting violence. Oh, well, what he said incited violence. No, the extremist that did the violence is the one that excited violence. There's extremists in every situation, from church. Again, I say this all the time, from church, religion, there's extremists everywhere. Too much anything will kill you, and too little of it will kill you too. Y'all hear the sirens? They right on cue. Because they know I'm telling the truth. They know. They know. It's impossible. And I leave this podcast today with some hope for humanity that we can somehow transcribe and transform as a better society, where if we do see someone that is murdered, we don't celebrate. If you are unfortunately happy that this person passed, I think the best thing you should do is don't say nothing. Just be quiet. Because just like I have family, you have family, he had a family too. Whether you agreed with his visions or not, his religion, if I'm not mistaken, I read he was a Mormon. Of course, allegedly, if he's a Mormon, Mormons have very bad things to say about black people. That's part of the religion. Allegedly, from what I've heard, black people are supposed to go to heaven and serve white people under the Mormon religion. Now, do I want to go out and hurt anybody that's a Mormon? No. Do your thing, chicken wing, handle your business. As long as you don't put your hands on me, we don't have a problem. Like, we need to bring back discussion. If you have a relationship, how far is that relationship going to go if it's no communication? Communication is key. He was a debater, debating on something he believed in. So you take his life because he was debating. Now you modernized him. Now, you know, you're going to have people that's going to go back. It's going to be, yes, 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 extremists, when maybe he wasn't even preaching that. He was just saying how he felt, what was on his mind. And now we've created, he's a martyr now. He died for what he believed in. So now you're going to have his diehard fans that are going to be like, we're not going to let people do this to us, and we're going to start hurting people. And now what do we have? We have a separation, a divide. When the people on top pulling the strings are looking down like, look at them go. And they'll conquer what's left of us. We need to be better as a society. I want to end this podcast today. I really hope that this did not fall on deaf ears. I really hope that you understand what I'm saying. And it's not to be celebrated someone's death, but do we know why he was killed? It was because of his freedom of speech, the very exact thing that I'm doing right now, just talking. And I don't think anyone deserves to be maimed, murdered, or killed for just debating, talking. Like, we had debate teams in high school. Like, I was part of conflict resolution in high school, debating in high school. Conflict resolution, which means you talk things out without violence occurring. So, I'm going to leave it at that. We need more conflict resolution and more discussions on why this should not have happened. Because again, if he was still alive today, no one would know who he is, or the very small people that do know who he is would just keep listening to him and debating him like I had no idea who he was. Like I said, I saw Jubilee one time. Holla at me, Jubilee. I did see them one time, and he was debating, I guess he was with pro-life and pro-choice, if I'm not mistaken. It was like an hour and 23 minutes long. Look, I told y'all I like to be cooking and cleaning, and I will put something on and just listen and not actually seeing the person until I realized that, oh my God, that's the same person I was listening to debating the people. Like, whoa, so you can't talk without being hurt, and people are saying he deserved it? No, no one deserves that. Nobody. And I really hope that you understood what I'm saying. No, I'm not happy he was killed that way. It was a public execution, and we all watched, and we had people that are happy about it. And you shouldn't be happy, because if that was you and your freedom of speech was silenced due to your unaliving, your family would be hurt. Your friends would be hurt. They would want, quote unquote, vengeance. I don't want vengeance for nobody. I really just want us to be able to talk and communicate as a society and agree to disagree. We have more similarities with each other than we do differences. Why don't we put out more of the similarities than we do differences, and we will see how much of a better society we can grow. Because we are a people. We are the smartest species of mammal on this planet. But we can't seem to show that with empathy towards one another. This will conclude the episode of the Mayday Mayhem podcast. Please join me next week. We'll be right back here for another podcast. And don't forget to check out the Beauty on a Budget. That was also dropped on the YouTube page, podcast. And again, treat one another as though you want to be treated. I don't want nobody hurting me for the words that I say. So you shouldn't want the same. So I'll leave you with that. If no one told you they love you, I do. I truly, truly do. Make sure you do better today than you did yesterday and strive for a better tomorrow today. I'll see you on the next Mayday Mayhem podcast. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, and I'll see you next time.
You can call her mayhem or mayday. Talk shit, she at your head. I ain't talking bald face. She don't fuck with baby daddies, fucking up the feng shui. Taking care of 4 kids, Sunday to Sunday.